Hold on tight, spider monkey.
As if you could outrun me!
It's more than some crush, Bella.
How? I don't even know what you're saying. How?
It's one that I hope you enjoy disappointment.
Loudly.
Ew, please don't do that.
Okay, but can you just like record it and then then we start the podcast afterwards?
We are recording.
Right now?
Yep.
Right in the second?
In this moment.
All right.
In this moment.
Welcome! This is the My Twilight Fantasy. Are you doing ASMR? Maya, I'm going to need you to not.
All right,
Stop.
whatever.
Stop.
You want to start over?
Do you know how many people are going to kill us for that sound?
I think we should try this again.
I feel like
Twilight
we should do it
ASMR is
first.
for a different episode.
Yeah.
True. Welcome to My Twilight Fantasy Podcast.
Woo, 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 woo.
This is Anna speaking, and we have...
T. Dreezy in the cut, also known as Tyree.
And Maya.
And Maya. But your podcast for all things Twilight. We are here for episode 3.
Phenomenon.
And we are in this. Fully in it.
Yes.
This week, our first podcast should be going up.
Yeah.
So, we already have a lot of followers, which is really exciting. And I think they're waiting on the first one. So,
Yes.
Here we are.
we're going to pull up.
Pull up.
But, yeah, I don't have much as far as introductions go, but what we do in this podcast is we discuss all things Twilight, love and hate, even though we love it.
It might not
Today.
sound like it.
It might not sound like it.
But I will watch it every time it's on TV. Every time. Without
I
fail.
willingly watch it on Hulu
Right, cancel plans.
every day.
Like,
I hesitate to admit that I really was a little bit skeptical of Twilight until one day. We worked together, by the way.
yeah.
We were having a really rough day in the kitchen, and Anna decided to put on Twilight, and, you know, my fascination with this whole series was just reignited.
Yep. No way to boost morale like play Twilight over the loudspeakers.
Right.
it was such a wonderful day.
That might be why Paul hates us.
I don't think so. I think he hated us from the beginning.
Yeah, from jump.
I hope he's alright with us saying his name in this podcast that he refuses to be part of.
So our coworker Paul,
This is for you, Paul.
this is for you. He refuses
Gives
to acknowledge our podcast, to acknowledge us, to even tolerate us.
Or answer direct questions.
Ever.
Yeah.
And we've known him a year. Mm-hmm. He's our best friend, but he doesn't like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to find him at his other job once.
No, twice, wasn't it? Was it twice?
No, it's only one
No,
time.
it was only
We could do
one
it again
time.
after this, though, if you're free.
Yeah, I'm free.
All right,
You
well,
finna hit up some
And today's
pizza?
Monday, so Tuesday, because Tuesday he said he was morning shift, right?
But he got the gout.
Mm.
Maybe
Hitch,
we
I
should
got some
discuss
gout.
his medical history.
He's just like sitting there like...
you know,
There's plenty of-
censor this just with long beeps.
Yeah.
There are plenty
Sorry,
of Pauls in
Paul.
Columbus.
What do you want to give out his address too?
If
I
you
don't
were
know.
wondering.
But if I did,
But yeah, we're located here in Columbus, Ohio. Coming at you as your Ohio bitches.
You Ohio hoes.
host for Twilight.
Hose for Twilight.
Change his name. Done.
Done.
Well, I was thinking we could rename the whole podcast to "This Is for You, Paul."
We could just
You
do
would
an
like that?
entirely other podcast
Just
that literally just gets personally sent to him every week.
Yeah.
I think he would like that.
I think he would too. Mm-hmm. Where we just shit on Tyree the entire time.
Wow. Wow.
We'll have to take turns shitting on each other. I think he hates us all equally.
Wait, we should do roast episodes.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
That
Yeah.
would be great.
He would come for those.
Yeah. Maya, could you handle a roast of yourself?
I might cry, but I cry every day anyway, so
It's all right.
It's not a big deal.
Oh.
I think I've already cried twice today.
I feel like even if it was someone else's turn, I would still end up getting roasted.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
Damn it, Tyree.
We roast you every day without a roast.
Yeah,
So
it's fine.
It's fine.
My mental health is all there, guys.
Sometimes I wonder if we're good for each other. But
I think we're
anyway,
great.
I mean,
Twilight.
clearly we have a podcast about Twilight. I can't imagine anything healthier than that.
right, so 3 adult women obsessed with Twilight looking for an outlet. Here it is.
I think this is a pretty healthy outlet.
I think
Yeah.
so too. Let's jump into chapter 3.
Yeah. Okay, so today we are talking about chapter 3. And really, to sum up all of chapter 3, it's all about the accident where Tyler hits Bella's truck. She is miraculously saved by Edward.
The Edward Cullen.
Sure.
Who was somehow standing across the parking lot before the threat of the van showed up, but then
Right.
was somehow mysteriously right next to her.
Yeah, so he saved her life. They're rushed to
Rusty
the
truck.
hospital. Rushed to the hospital, where we are first introduced to Dr. Cullen Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. Oh, and I guess we start to get, like, Bella's demanding of answers from Edward.
Right.
But that's pretty much it. It covers a lot, but at the same time, it's like one event, really.
Yeah. So the chapter, like, if you're reading it, it goes by really quickly. And we do recommend that you read along.
Yeah. So,
What version of the book you have? You have the white one, the black one.
Yeah.
white
And it's
one's
got
obviously
these
better.
beautiful white books.
Is that racist?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
I just like yeeted into the microphone. They're probably gonna be like, if they have headphones, they're just gonna be like.
I think I can adjust your levels at the end of this.
I
don't know, because I've never edited anything in my entire life, and I'm figuring it out all right now.
alright.
I want to be very
You know-
loud in the ear.
One step at a time. We'll get there. It'll get good.
Maybe Paul can be our producer. Can we hire him?
Yeah.
Does he know anything?
Yeah, I feel like you maybe.
Doesn't he have a degree in something related to production?
Does he have a degree?
I believe he does. I'll question him next weekend.
Okay.
All I know is that I want to be bass boosted and everything. Like I want
Excellent.
everyone's ears to shake.
Obviously. Earthquake.
Like my neighbors?
Did you make my earthquake?
Yeah, so in the last episode, I think it might have honestly picked up. So the last episode, we're recording in my apartment. This is Anna. We're recording in my apartment, and the neighbors beneath me, every single day, and it's only on weekdays. It's never weekends. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Between the hours of like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., they just blare music in their apartment. Like bass, everything. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're getting lit as hell, though. And
Trying to make us
I'm
the
pretty
week.
sure it picked up in the last episode.
Excellent.
So,
Enjoy that.
yeah. Anyway,
If you can figure out what song they were playing, email us.
my Twilight Fantasy Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's chapter 3. That's what we're covering today. I think we all have a lot to say about this chapter.
Yes, even though it's a blur.
It is a blur, but I think, Maya, you have,
The overview?
yeah, your shit most together. So why don't you get us started?
All right, so obviously the majority of this chapter is the event itself of the van sliding into Bella's car, or I'm not even sure if it makes contact with her car. Honestly, that whole section of the book I had a little bit of trouble visualizing, and then another bulk of the chapter happens at the hospital. But right before that, Bella wakes up, and all the snow from the last episode, or the last chapter, rather, she was happy that it sort of got washed away by the rain, but then everything ended up freezing over and snowing way more. Yeah. So she says it's bound to be, she says clearly today was going to be nightmarish. And then she drives to school and has a surprisingly easy time. And then she gets out of her car to realize that Charlie has put, what are they called?
Like
Snow
little
chains.
Snow chains on her tires, and she's really touched by this. This is something that is left out of the movie, and I think that's really a shame, because there are few moments where Charlie and Bella connect, and this is a really meaningful one, I think. And it's even kind of glossed over in the book because of the events that follow her realization of this, but she says she's not used to being taken care of in this way, and Charlie's unspoken concern caught her by surprise.
I think that, like, speaks to what we've said in each episode before this, is about how Bella's always acting as the parent, and so she's kind of taken aback
Right.
when something's being done for her. And also, I think it's just a really nice additive to, like, Charlie's character.
Yes.
It shows, like, it's not, his interactions with Bella is not really being him neglectful as a parent. I think that's just his, like, love language, as you would say. It's like his love language is, like, doing things for other people rather than, you know, being the overdoting parent.
Using his words. Yeah, I think that's really common with dads, too.
I think so. Yeah, my dad's like that.
Yeah, so is mine. So,
Mine as well.
Yeah. So I think that's a really sweet thing that isn't really often highlighted about Charlie. And also another reason why I don't understand why she's so cold towards him. Not, like, directly, but why she, like, calls him Charlie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's another thing that I felt could have been explored a little bit more if there were, like, more, like, a prequel or some more content of her being in Arizona, because we don't... It seems like her mom and her dad get along pretty well, and I get, like, talking about a parent who's not present by their first name, but you'd think that if they left on relatively good terms, and I think they did because Bella visited often,
right?
That Bella's mom would have been more careful to say, like, your dad instead of Charlie, so that Bella wouldn't have picked up on that habit.
Yeah, she, like, openly, like, just didn't correct her at all. Like, I would have gotten in trouble for calling my dad by his first name.
Right.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean, I call my dad by his first name, but I think if I did that to his face, he would be really hurt, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But that's an interesting thought. If you have any thoughts about that, email us at mytwilightfantasy@gmail.com.
My Twilight Fantasy Podcast.
Podcast, excuse me.
Because, shockingly enough, mytwilightfantasy@gmail.com is already taken.
Wow. Go
so
figure.
don't forget the podcast.
Don't email them.
Yeah.
Please don't, because that might be some weird fetish thing, and
Ooh.
we're not trying to go there.
Oh!
But you might not realize that by the name of our podcast. We're just doing an in-depth reading of the books in comparison to the movies. Not nothing really fantastical about it.
That really just stressed me out, that whole thought. Yeah, this is actually just a kink for real.
Don't kink shame me.
Kink shaming is my kink.
Oh. You know what's really interesting? I was hanging out with my friend the other day, Adam, and we were
You were talking about kinks?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But we were specifically talking about that vine. And I was like, that's such a good, like, not metaphor, but just, like, I feel like that just explains the world we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're saying, like, don't kink shame me, because it's not the right thing to do, but then you can just go on the opposite and say, like, well, kink shaming is my kink, and then it just has to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that's a really good just
social commentary from a 6-second video. Yes.
Yeah, I
This is
really
how the
think
world
it
works.
is, because we talked about it for like an hour, and I was like, God, wow, Vine is deep, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
Adam. Yeah. Also, I think our love of Vine will become apparent throughout this
Right.
entire podcast, because it's everything.
Comes back to Twilight.
I was talking about Vine, Tyree.
Oh.
Damn
Wonder
it.
if there are any lines
I'm
about
sorry.
Twilight.
About Twilight?
Yeah, we'll have to look for those for meme corner sometime.
There's got to be just vines of Bella just breathing heavy.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah.
And
And we
sub round of
should...
applause afterwards.
I think maybe in order to, like, start a new podcast, for certain apps to be able to publish it, you have to have multiple episodes.
Yeah.
So we're, like, kind of pre-recording these. And in the future, when we're kind of going at, like, one per week, if we ever get to that point, we should start posting our, like, meme corner stuff and, like, other funny Twilight content on our Instagram
I'm so down.
and Twitter. Yeah.
I'll post that one I talked about last week
Yeah.
on our Instagram page.
Cool.
But if you guys also have any really funny Instagram or Twilight memes or funny stuff about it,
Send it in.
Yeah, send it in. You can send it to our podcast. You can send it in our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, My Twilight Fantasy Podcast. Or it's just My Twilight Fantasy on Instagram and Twilight on Twitter.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm getting Twilight and Twitter mixed up now.
Well, I don't blame you.
Everything comes back to Twilight.
The more you say Twilight, the more it sounds strange in your mouth. I think.
The more we've, like, since we've started this, like, and Twilight becoming a part of my normal day-to-day, it feels pretty natural.
It does.
That's kind of scary to me. Is that scary to you guys?
No, I'm like...
It's alright.
You're
I
just
needed
embracing
something
it?
to dive into right now, so.
True.
Anytime I, like, stand outside and, the wind's blowing and, like, I hear the rustle in the trees, I'm just like...
Heavy breathing in nature.
Yeah. And then I think about Twilight. And I think, as if you could outrun me!
Yes.
All right. So, back to chapter 3.
Yes.
All right.
So, before that incident, though, Bella kind of addresses some questions that we also have as readers, right in the very beginning of the chapter before she gets to school, which are, she seems, like, surprised by her crush on Edward. She's, like, she keeps saying that it's stupid how she feels about him and how, like, excited she is to see him, and, like, her motivation for going to school is kind of to see him. And then she also questions why people are suddenly so interested in her, meaning Mike and Eric, because she doesn't really look different than she did in Phoenix, but she says, perhaps it was because I was a novelty here, where novelties were few and far between. Possibly my crippling clumsiness was seen as endearing rather than pathetic, casting me as a damsel in distress. Whatever the reason, Mike's puppy dog behavior and Eric's apparent rivalry with him were disconcerting. Sorry.
No, you're fine, because I'm thinking, like, she calls herself a novelty with her busted appearance.
Well, we don't know if she's busted in the book. We don't know what she looks like.
Well, in the movie, she's busted.
Yikes. I don't think she's busted.
Like, I mean, like, neck up, like, alright. But, like, neck down, like,
Her style.
I can't do it.
Her style, yeah.
But no, I think I talked about this in chapter 2 or last episode where I was saying she never addresses just like how different it is, and then she does in this episode, but just for a brief second.
Yeah.
So it's like it's good that she does, but it's also still, it just doesn't seem like a very big deal to her.
Right. Whereas for us, we're like searching for the meaning in this book and
Yeah.
like, trying to figure out at the core of this whole series, like, what makes Bella special.
Yeah.
And that she addresses it somewhat, but like then moves right along.
Right. Also, I feel in my soul the motivation to go to school because of your crush. Like my high school self.
Yeah, totally.
That's the only reason I went to school.
You know,
I guess, yeah, you might be right. It's the only thing adding, like, spice to your day.
Yeah, I was like, when I was in middle school, because I was in middle school when this came out, and then I was thinking, like, well, I don't need these middle school boys. I'm going to have me a nice high school boy, and then everyone there was smacked. And it was just... I was so disappointed. I was expecting to be like not like Edward level, because I didn't really find Robert Patterson all that attractive, but like I was thinking like Jacob level dudes like walking around.
Okay, well that's a lot to ask for.
Yeah, I was sort of shook when I got to high school, and then like I'm thinking like all these people would be like super attractive, and there's gonna be like little old me, but then like everyone was just as smacked as I was, so it was just like, wow. And then Mom was like, yeah, no, they don't grow into, like, people don't become attractive until they're like in their 20s, and then now I'm in my 20s. Like,
not even now.
No, I mean, like, well, Twilight came out when you were in middle school. It came out when I was in high school. Yikes. But I was, like, in love with my best friend in high school, and he looked like Jacob. So I feel like this movie, or this book, gave me a lot of unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
It really set me up for heartbreak.
Unrealistic expectations and somewhat negative messages. I feel like before we started recording, Tyree really went through this really in a very
tell
nice
us
way.
about your thoughts on just Bella's negative.
Oh, yeah. Like summing up like chapter 2 and chapter 3, she sort of like just has this message that she's like giving off to like her audience, which is the world runs around attractive males. As far as like all the like not just attractive males but attractive people in general, like how like she literally centers all her attention on the Cullens anytime they're anywhere near her. Not to stick up for yourself is one of them, because she never addresses how rude Edward was to her, like at all. She never addresses it. The only reason to be excited about going to school is for a boy. And then it's okay to itch over everything and make everything bigger than it actually is.
Also, can I just add in that Tyree self-censors herself?
Yeah.
So when she says itch, she means bitch.
And usually, most of the time when she's saying a quote-unquote bad word, she'll just say the first letter of it, so just...
Yeah,
Like,
or like
bounce that A.
Yeah.
bounce
Like-
that ass. So,
F
sorry,
asses.
I just felt that needed some clarification.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
My bad, y'all.
no worries, I can translate.
Right.
Just in the background. I'm like, this is some FS. And just
This is some fuck shit. But no, I think that's a really good point. And
I think so, too.
observation on Bella's whole outward expression.
Right, and you know, I think it's even worse in the movies because you don't get to understand any of her internal monologue, obviously. So you don't get to see her telling herself, this isn't what my motivation should be, or like telling herself, trying not to center her whole self and her whole thinking on the Cullens or whether Edward's there or whether Edward's in a good mood that day.
Yeah.
So it's really more problematic, to use a word that Anna hates, in the movie than in the books, I think, but it's still pretty severe.
Everything's problematic.
Yeah. Definitely. So anyway, let's talk about this car crash. So Bella gets kind of down on the ground to look at... She didn't know that Charlie put those snow chains, is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she did.
No, she didn't know until she got there.
She looked at them, and she's kind of like down on the ground looking at them, and that's when Tyler's car comes out of nowhere. So...
Yeah, she's not just randomly staring over her shoulder at Edward. No, she's...
The way it happens in the movie, of course. It's a little bit different than the movie.
Yeah, this scene particularly is different. Like, it's a different day and everything.
Yeah, it's at the beginning of the day instead of the end.
And there's a lot more dialogue between Edward and Bella during the actual incident.
Mm-hmm. And I felt like by the end of this chapter, and the two conversations they have about it, one here while she's still on the ground before the ambulance comes, and once in the hospital, by the end of it, they are both lying about this. They both know they're lying about it, and that kind of really cements their relationship. I feel like they are really stuck together after that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know why she's lying, and she doesn't know why he's being so weird about this, and he's scared.
Yeah.
And I wondered, once she's at the hospital, Carlisle is there kind of like examining her, and he's trying to get her like released. Edward is. I wonder, they don't like make any sign of it, but I wonder if Edward got in trouble with his family for what he did. Because that was a pretty big risk.
Yeah, they actually said, because it says like Bella was talking about how instead of like the siblings being concerned about Edward, like, and how he was, they were just like looking like really disapproving and like annoyed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's actually one of the notes I made, was this is the first like hint of disapproval that you get from his family, because it mentions just them not showing any sort of concern, and rather just more like annoyance with Edward, that he has this obsession with this human. And of course she doesn't know this at the time, but she's just observing their behavior and seeing what they're showing off. And I think that they show that in the movie. Like, I guess it's a good way that they did it, where they show kind of Carlisle and Edward and Rosalie bitching, doing what she always does. And like, this affects all of us and blah, blah, blah. And this isn't just you and your human fascination and whatever. Like, you got to be careful.
His human fantasy.
Which is really fair, because if you think about it, anyone could have noticed that he was running over there, and anyone could have questioned how he managed to
get over there.
Right. Or how he managed to stop the van.
Which I don't understand how not a single person addressed that.
Me either. Unless they were so captivated and, so concerned with Bella, but why would they be?
Yeah, and they're all up Bella's ass. Like, did they just try to mask it with that? Also, the book shows concern for Tyler.
Which is great.
Which is great, rather than just Bella.
On him repeatedly.
Yeah, because the movie just totally shits on him.
Yeah.
It's like, it's an icy road and a parking lot in a shitty van. It's like, yeah, of course he's gonna skid and all this stuff. And like, how they make Charlie react to him, like, you're gonna lose your license.
I'm like, okay,
it's like,
calm your fish titties. He didn't do it on purpose.
I like the way that Edward just kind of like, Tyler's trying to apologize to him too, and he says like, no blood, no foul, or something like that. I like that.
And he like,
it's really charming.
And he even like described it as like, he smirked afterwards and like played it off, and like he was friendly. And also, he comes to visit Bella. Ella and Bedward. How's that, guys? He comes to visit Ella.
All these ship names.
He comes to visit Bella in the hospital, and they talk again.
Yes. And he says like, I'm here to free you, or something like that.
I just don't understand how they thought that they could have replaced this dialogue with just awkward glances, stares, and groans.
Yeah, there's like so much dialogue taken out of the movie. Yeah. Like, especially like her conversation with Tyler.
And I think it takes away from their characters so much, especially their charm.
And once again, you're wondering why the hell these two people like each other.
Which, this at least helps. The dialogue in the book helps.
Definitely. And I really appreciated that they, in the movie, kept my favorite line of the whole book,
Well, I hope
so
you enjoyed
far.
Disappointment.
Yes, that one.
I knew it.
Because it feels like so out of place if you don't know what's going on, and you can imagine that Bella's so lost
Yeah.
because she has no idea why he's lying about being next to her instead of being across the parking lot like she clearly saw.
Right.
And when she says she's not going to drop it, why would he get so mad about that? And he tells her to prepare to be disappointed. I wonder if that was him saying, well, now I can't be friends with you at all, or if he was saying that the answer is disappointing, or both.
Right. I mean, in the movie, he says that very, like, angrily.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find in here how he actually says it, but I read it as just, like, a friendly, almost like a sarcastic comment, like a witty, like, well, hope you enjoy Disappointment.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I
But
mean? That's how I...
It's on 65.
That's what I'm looking for.
He says...
We
after
scout at each other. Okay, so they do say that. But still, I get a friendlier vibe from Edward in the book.
Right, and even when they are kind of like bantering like this, like in the scene in biology class, at one point Bella says that she wanted to stick her tongue out like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So
There's like a playful energy to
a
it.
playful energy, yes.
And
And it makes them so much more likable.
yeah. Yeah.
But then even she says, I was so angry it took me a few minutes until I could move. But she gets angry when he's joking all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a valid reading of this, I would say.
I just miss it. I really miss it in the movies.
Mm-hmm,
What's up?
definitely.
Tyra, are you raising your hand?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I just keep doing that. But I was also going to just mention a part that they had left out, how, like, they were, like, when they were talking and Bella was asking if she can go back to school, because this was supposed to be staged during the morning time and not the end of the school day. And then they were talking about how, like, all her classmates are at the hospital.
Yeah.
For starters, it was her, it was like the second, third day, and then, like, all of her classmates are concerned are at the hospital. For one, where are the schools, like, disciplinarians? Maybe just let everyone leave.
Yeah.
Well, I think that just speaks again to how small of a town it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not much probably goes on here. So the new girl almost getting hit by a van is probably a huge deal.
Pretty lit.
And and I think another thing that they like, I mean, sometimes they say it and they reference it, but she's also the chief's daughter, like the chief of police's daughter, which, like, in a small town, I would think is kind of some sort of level of fame, which sounds ridiculous, but, like, she's held up to a different level than some other people. Mm-hmm. And so when something happens to her, it's, like, high alert.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. At least to people who, since all the adults in the town know Charlie,
Yeah.
probably would want to take special care of his
Absolutely. And it seems like everyone really, really respects Charlie in his position.
good person.
Because he's a king.
Yeah.
We stand.
Yeah.
Well, I have something else I'd like to add to this chapter. This is the first time that we meet Carlisle. Mm-hmm. And in the book, Bella's, like, basically drooling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he
And
is.
in the movie, she's unaffected.
Yeah.
Wholly unaffected. And,
Yeah, I had some notes on that as well.
like, Carlisle's supposed to be a full daddy.
Please
And
stop saying that.
can you tell me a better way to describe him?
A full father.
That's
A
so
full
much worse.
papa.
No,
A
that's
full
so much
poppy.
worse.
But she literally describes him as,
More beautiful than
like,
any
her
celebrity.
jaw drops. She says, my mouth fell open. This is on page 61 at the bottom. He was young, he was blonde, and he was handsomer than any movie star I'd ever seen.
I mean, instead of saying daddy, you could say, like, he was at lick his chest level.
That's way worse.
I don't think so.
There's not a person that I would want to lick their chest, no matter
Well,
how.
you're
There's
missing out then.
Yeah, there are a couple people I've seen. I'm just like, I would lick their chest.
I need you
like
both.
on
Taylor
site.
Lautner.
Not even him.
Why
I would,
not?
Theo James, I would lick his chest on site.
Tyree, I really need you to find a new top-notch guy.
On
Because Theo
site.
James is not that cute.
Theo James is very attractive.
There's so many other people out there.
If you have any
Michael
thoughts
B.
on
Jordan,
this
I would
debate,
lick his chest.
email us.
Yeah. Whose
Whose
chest would you want to lick?
Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan's.
tell us. Let us know.
Yeah, lick his chest.
I might lick Michael G. Jordan.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, she's like, Because, again, they constantly bring up how attractive the Cullens are. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Bella notices, you know, this man. She doesn't know who it is on first sight, but just by his looks and how out of place he is there, she's like, oh, she literally says, this had to be Edward's father.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And in the movie, deadpan. Nothing. Yeah. No reaction.
Why did they tell who directed her to be like that? You know, like why?
Yeah.
For what purpose? I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself if I've said this in a podcast before, but I think maybe that was a move to allow the viewer to like project themselves onto Bella, but I just don't think that works.
Not at all.
I would relate way more to a girl like being like,
Drooling.
oh
yeah.
my God. You know what I mean? I mean,
Definitely.
I just called him daddy, so.
Lick.
Just starts licking his chest in the movie. Sorry, Edward. I'm going after your dad. That would be a great movie.
What?
There are probably fan fictions about that.
Oh, and I'm going to go find them right now.
But
Okay, I'm sorry. You said, I'm going after your dad, and I just thought of that Billie Eilish song. Bad guy, yeah.
Might seduce your dad type.
ooh, yikes.
Yikes,
Aw, man.
yikes.
Triggered.
All right. But that was just my thought. I mean, Carlisle deserves better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Which
And,
I could have a whole thesis on that, but
right, definitely. He's an inexplicably good person.
yeah.
You guys are, like, sending me, because I'm thinking, like, of other books, and I'm just like...
I need you to come closer to the mic.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry.
Is this better?
Okay, that's a lot.
On that same page, a little bit higher up, I lost it, but it talks about how Bella's trying to glare at Edward for, like, basically forcing her to go to the hospital, because he's the one who says, like, oh, you hit your head, you have to go, and making her put on the neck brace and get in the ambulance in the back and stuff, and she says it would be easier to, like, ogle at him instead of glare, because they're just so hypnotically gorgeous, which also, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself again, but how could any actor ever live up to this standard? Especially not these white foundation caked people.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, the movie can't really portray that. I think I said this last episode is because, like, you can get attractive people, but there's no, like, how do you portray the magnetism that these beings are supposed to, like, emit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're right. It's like an impossible standard.
Mm-hmm. So, like, from the get-go, any visual portrayal of this is going to be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously the movies aren't going to contain every single thing that the books do, but it is a little bit dissatisfying, especially in this chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, side note, Emmett's hair really bothers me. Mm-hmm. I don't like how dark it is.
Whose hair?
Emmett.
Oh, yeah, no.
He looks like a newborn with just, like, really black jet hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're all, like, pale because they don't have blood in their faces yet.
And he's just like, boom.
Yeah. They could have just let him be his, like, natural color, and I feel like it just would have looked better.
I don't know what any of them look like naturally without the white foundation.
They look crazy. Well, no, they look crazy because the girl who plays Rosalie, she's naturally tan and dark brown hair.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks really scary in the movies, I think.
Wait, which one of you watches Vampire Diaries?
I have seen
I'd started watching it.
She's married to the guy Ian Somerhalder.
Yeah, no, that...
I don't know.
I don't know, one of them.
Embarrassing.
But I'm going to show you a picture of her because it's like...
Was she tore up from the floor up?
No, she's super pretty,
no,
but
we're tore it from the floor up.
Oh, yeah,
we're
you're
dumpster
right.
fires.
Hella dumpster fire.
Dumpster.
But go ahead, what we were talking about.
I don't
I was
remember.
just bothered by Emmett's hair. That's her.
Oh, wow, she looks human.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost don't recognize her. Ooh.
And that's the guy from Vampire Diaries.
He's a lick your chest.
Yeah.
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 I mean, not with that haircut, but, like, if you get rid of that
like his
haircut...
hair like
I do
I
not.
like long hair
Me
on
too.
guys.
No, long hair isn't the problem. I don't like the little suburban thing going on back here. Like, because it's like his hair straight, and then it's just like flip the ends, and then he has like the bang in the face, and he's just like, let me just squint and smolder at the camera. With my really light baby blue eyes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, so I want to really quickly return to the scene where Bella and Edward are talking one-on-one in the hospital. Because I read that differently than like a friendly banter. Maybe it started off that way, but I really felt like Edward was acting angry to try to like keep Bella from getting close to him. Because at this point, he had been yelled at by his family or something and realized how dangerous the thing that he did was by like a vampire running across the parking lot to save her.
Yeah.
And it says that he like somehow braced like his shoulder like impact, that his shoulders were what were hit by the van. So, and that's like super obvious kind of to Bella. So I think he had been yelled at for that and then was like trying to keep his distance once again from Bella. Whereas, so in the beginning, the first time they see each other, he's interested in her because he can't read her mind. And then, in biology, he's like trying to keep himself from biting her or something. That's why he looks disgusted. And then the next time, when they're actually having their first conversation, he's really interested in her. And then he does this stupid thing and has to try to push her away again.
Yeah.
I think that was my understanding of it. I just wanted to go back to that for a second.
I think in the books a lot more. Like, she makes a comment of it in the movies, like, your mood swings are giving me whiplash.
Right.
But, like, his mood is crazy in the book. Not even mood, but just how he treats her.
Yes. And that's
It's, like, really, like 180. Yeah, it's really, really crazy because it's not just, like, we shouldn't be friends. It's, like,
I'm
actively...
dangerous.
Yeah, I'm dangerous. Don't be near me. Like, actively rude and mean.
Yeah, Alexa, play Toxic by Britney Spears.
Honestly, I mean, it's very extreme. And I think that this chapter is where we first start to really see it.
Yes.
Because in the second chapter where they're, like, first interacting versus her just, like, seeing him for the first time and not really understanding, we're starting to realize, like, this is a pattern of him being, like, nice, mean, like, all this stuff.
And then what's further fucked up about this is that only serves to make her more attracted to him. And on the last page of this chapter, she says, I was consumed by the mystery Edward presented, and more than a little obsessed by Edward himself. Stupid, stupid, stupid.
Yeah, and that's unhealthy.
It is really unhealthy, but at least she recognizes it in the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Also, I don't like how she always, like, somewhere in the chapter she calls him by his full government name, like Edward Cullen. I'm like, and then, like, also, like, there's just, like...
Government name. You think, wait, do vampires have government names, you think?
I wonder.
How does that shit... Whoa.
Yeah, his
Maybe
name
that's
doesn't
what the whole
change.
How do they have IDs?
No, remember Carlisle knows a guy when,
Oh, yeah.
Jasper.
Yeah, so it's like Sheldon, like, Breaking Down Part 2 or something.
Yeah. JJ Banks.
Yeah. Homeboy was
I'm
nervous.
a little bit disturbed that you know his name.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
a
fine.
little off the charts, but, you know.
I mean, are you really surprised at this point? I'm the one that got us into this mess.
You're right. Anna did this.
So you're sort of like,
This
it's
is
not
my
like
fault.
regular, you're like out of pocket. It's not like even out of pocket, you're like wildin' over here.
What the hell are you talking about?
Like that's out of pocket that you know that.
Anyway,
Wild.
Full wild
wildin'. Yeah, in summary, this is a toxic relationship, and
But it's not even a relationship yet. They're not even friends.
she's just obsessed with him
Yes. And he's obsessed with her.
because he wants to murder her.
Correct.
Which he states, which, you know. not gonna
Yeah,
do that.
In
the
summary,
reason he is
that's
drawn, kinda. No, he's drawn to her. Like every time I start to get wrapped up in like their love story, I just stop myself and like he is drawn to her because he A wants to kill her and B can't read her mind.
Yes. Which is gross.
Right.
And we don't, sorry to cut you off again, but we don't ever like think of Edward as like a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
But he is.
He is. But also, I think that's why I really liked Robert Pattinson's portrayal of him because he does bring like, and I know you sent us that video where like he almost got fired because of how self-loathing he played Edward. But I think that that's a really important quality to bring to Edward, because if he were just this egomaniac vampire who's like, I know I'm hot and all this stuff, and he's after this human because he can't get in there, that would be way, way worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rather than it's this guy who's like knows he's dangerous, wants to fight this urge, but he's falling in love with this enigma to him, you know? I think that that's what makes him so likable.
Can we call it love if they're 17?
I mean, I fell in love at 17. It was a mistake, but I did.
Or we can be Justin Bieber and fall in love at 13.
Oof.
When I was 13.
I think I'm still dating the same person I was dating when I was 17, and I'm 20 now.
You started dating Garrett at 17?
Yeah. I graduated from high school at 17.
I'm big single. Don't hit me up, though.
My Twilight Fantasy Podcast at gmail.com if you want to take out Tyree.
Yes.
Do not. I will not respond.
Also, Anna's looking for a sugar daddy. My Twilight Fantasy Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, I will take a sugar daddy, but if you're looking for a relationship, you gotta go. You gotta blast.
All right. Any last thoughts on this chapter? Because we are down to our last 4 minutes.
I'm surprised we had that much to say about it, honestly. It was very short.
Yeah.
It felt very short, at least.
Nothing?
I don't think so.
Pretty good.
All right. Well, it is time for this week's Meme Corner, where we share our favorite memes, tweets, etc. for the week. If they're deemed good enough, we will put them on our Instagram page and Twitter for you guys to check out. But who has theirs up first? Tyree? Maya?
I have 2 memes that are, like, on the same
Level?
but they're like the same graphic that I found. So we're gonna go with them both. So the first one is a picture of the Dos Equis guy with Bella's face on his face.
The least interesting person in the world.
Yes. It says, "I don't always smile, but when I do, I don't." And then the image next to it is Edward wearing like a baseball cap backwards. And it says, "Could use time being immortal to research cancer. Goes to high school a billion times and seduces a 17-year-old girl."
T,
So true.
piping hot.
And that's the T.
Piping hot.
So on to you, Tyree.
Piping hot tea. Oh. Mine's just a family portrait of everyone. It's just Edward, Jacob, Bella, and Renesmee in ugly name.
Did
by the
you
way.
just say Renesmee?
Renesmee?
Is that worse or
It's
better?
Renesmee.
Renesmee.
Is there a Z in that?
It sounds like resume.
Yeah.
You just flogged your Renesmee. Never mind. But they're all in a picture, and it just has but like everyone's sort of like looking somewhere off anywhere. But it has Jacob in the cut, and it says, "Like the mom, and now I'm going for the daughter." and that's the choice.
Yes.
I feel like we will have to have an entire 5-episode series on Jacob and Renesmee's relationship when it comes to it.
Yeah. I'm ready for that.
I wanted her to make a spinoff so bad. I was just like, yes, I strip it so hard. But then I was thinking I was taking a couple steps back. So I'm like, well, he held her as a baby, fam.
Right,
and now he's just like, I want to tap that now.
We got to save it because it'll be an event.
Yeah.
Maybe
definitely.
we'll do a live podcast
That would
for
be
that.
great. If we have a big enough following by then, that would be
Yeah.
so lit. But speaking of spin-offs, I found Anna has this beautiful set of all the Twilight books, and it came with which one?
The Brief Second Life of Bree Tanner.
Which is one spin-off. I went to Half Price Books and I bought my whole hardback basic set of
Hell
Twilight
yeah.
books for $19.99. I just want you to know that. And then I also bought volume 1 of the illustrated, almost manga-esque version, so that's kind of another spin-off. And I think there was another spin-off talking about Edward's perspective of the situation, or I could be wrong about
I
that.
feel like that does exist. I feel like I've heard of it.
And then you've heard of one that's like
Or
Twilight
reimagined, yeah.
So
By
all
Stephanie
these
Meyer.
spin-offs by Stephanie Meyer. And no head?
So no head.
but no
That's why we have 50 Shades right now.
no Jacob and Renesmee one? Come on. That's what we all wanted.
That's so upsetting.
They were supposed to make a whole movie. I don't think she was gonna write a book, but they were supposed to make a movie about it. And I was just like, yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I was tweaked. I'm like, Twilight's not gonna end here. It's gonna keep going forever. Yeah, no. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate
what
it.
do you have to say about that? that's even more twisted than a 100-year-old plus vampire with a 17-year-old girl. You know what I mean?
You know, he's like, yeah, I held you as a baby, I fed you. I was like, I watched you grow up, and it's just.
Anyway, we gotta wrap it up here.
So I'll save my meme for next week because honestly it was a little sad. So don't want to bring this down. But thank you for listening, guys. If you want to check us out, all of our audio is on YouTube. We are currently working on getting on iTunes and Spotify. But follow us on social media at My Twilight Fantasy on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, like I said last week, peace, love, and Twilight, y'all.
Deuces.
Read along with us next week.
Bye.